Good morning. Welcome to Liberated Yoga Studio. Today's class will be on core activation integration through balance. You're going to need an extra mat, or if you have just one mat, roll it up into a tight bolster, a block, or a pillow. We're going to be using that for head support. We will be using the bolster lengthwise along the spine. When you lie down, it's not long enough to support the head as well. So have a pillow or a block ready for that. And also optional wobble board. None of these props are required. They're just a way to level up some of the work we'll be doing today. Join us. Let's get started on our back. You can even use, if you have your rolled up mat, you can slide it under the pelvis so that the pelvis is up on a little elevation. So take the mat and just slide it under the pelvis like this, so it's up on a little support, a couple of inches, maybe 3 at most. Have your feet on the floor and apart, knees together, so the low back can drape a little bit. Arms can be out wide to open up the chest. And head is best level. It's best not to have anything propping the head up forward, because we want to have our spine find that nice level alignment for the head here on the floor. Turn the palms to face up as you position the arms wide. Relax. And let's begin with lengthening of the exhalation. As you lengthen the exhale, slowly turn the head side to side. Breathe in and out through the nose. And lengthen the exhale by constricting the throat, as if you're saying but with the mouth closed. This is called Ujjayi breath. And as you turn the head slowly side to side and lengthen the exhale with the Ujjayi breath, tension in the neck and shoulders will start to leave. When we're doing core work, often we tense up without meaning to in our neck and shoulders, very common. Tense in the jaw and the face, so we're going to release that tension so that if we are tensing up, we'll notice it much more likely, because we started out with relaxed neck and shoulders and face, and if we start to tense up and grip up here as we're working on our deep core, we're much more likely to notice that. Do some easy circles of the head on the floor as well. A few in each direction, making sure the jaw is relaxed and the face is relaxed. And then do a little bit of massage of the neck. Just take your hands and massage your neck, shoulders, whatever you can reach. Massage your temples, scalp. Let's spend about a minute increasing some blood flow to the neck and shoulders, face. And at some point, your inhale will naturally deepen as this tension leaves the body, which is restricting the rib cage and restricting the deeper inhale. As it leaves the body, the inhale will deepen. Sometimes there's a sigh, a sense of release, and that's what we're waiting for to start our first movement. So if you notice that the inhale is deepened, the rib cage has a little bit of ease in it and room, now that we've been up in this position for a minute, position your arms down your sides. The bolster might be in the way a little bit, but just to the sides of the edges of the bolster. And then inhale, reach up overhead. Reach with purpose and lengthen. And then on the exhale, bring the arms back down along the sides. A few of these at your pace. Inhale as you reach up. Exhale as you reach down. And keep lengthening the exhale. And match the pace of the movement. And deepening the inhale. And using the movement to assist the breath to lengthen and deepen. And using the breath to really focus the mind on what you're doing by coordinating breath and movement together. A couple of more. And then if you had something under your pelvis, slide that out for now, so you can put your pelvis back flat on the floor and grab your knees in. As you grab your knees in, massage your lower back with a bit of rocking side to side, circling and egg beating. And continue lengthening the exhale. So now we're working to release tension from the low back and pelvis. So notice if your breath again starts to fall back to that shorter inhale, shorter exhale, that kind of tense breathing pattern, and continue to lengthen the exhale to release tension from the low back. Circle a few times in each direction with the knees together. And then circle like egg beaters, supporting the knees with your hands. So we're not really working out the core just yet. We're mobilizing the joints, we're releasing tension, so we want everything to be as easy to do as possible. And then some Apanasana, still holding on to the knees as we inhale into tabletop. Point the toes, and as we exhale, guide the knees closer in, flex and pulse. And continue this way for about a minute, feeling the feet, pointing and flexing as you go. Keeping the exhale nice and long, so our low back feels a little better. And then when you're ready to move on, just straighten the legs on the floor. Inhale, reach up overhead for a full body stretch. Exhale, grab one leg in and guide it with your hands closer. Spend a couple of breaths circling the thigh bone around in its hip socket, or twirling the ankle around a little bit. And then we'll go side to side, inhaling through full body stretch. Lengthening and exhaling, switching legs, circling, hip and ankle. Keep the knee closed. We'll work on the knee in just a moment. Let's do a few of these first. As you're doing a full body stretch, you can do a little soft lateral, reaching side to side to keep on opening up the rib cage and deepening the inhale. One more round, side to side, taking all the time with the exhale. Nice and long. Good. When you're ready to move on, we'll work on our knees, but also quads and hamstrings and calves. Let's have our left leg bent on the floor and clasp the hands behind the right thigh, holding it in. And then support that as we straighten on the inhale, flexing and fanning the toes, bending, or rather straighten on the inhale, bending and pulsing on the exhale, like that. Because we don't carry tension symmetrically distributed throughout the body. Sometimes there's a little bit more tension on the right than it is on the left. There's pockets of tension just kind of spread out, sometimes in a zigzag fashion along the back. So that's why I want to pulse one leg at a time. So the other one is bent to give the low back that extra room, that extra space to do that one side of the pelvis pulse. One more time on this side, and then we'll switch legs. Put the right one down, grab the left one. Straighten as you inhale, flex. Bend as you exhale, pulse. And if the hamstrings feel particularly tight, you can massage the leg up and down a little bit as well. And then we'll do both legs and arms. Tense release technique to dump as much tension at once as we can at this time. So start with both knees in. On the inhale, extend both legs to the ceiling, flex. Arms overhead, fists. Tense your body, and then exhale through the mouth. And grabbing the knees in, pulse both. Repeat like that with good contrast. Inhale and exhale. Tense on the inhale. Dump out that tension on the exhale to clear out and reset the nervous system too with this contrast. Like contrasting shower, it just resets the nervous system. Very good. An easy twist next with the windshield wipers to continue easing the low back a little bit. So as you put the feet back on the floor, step them wide apart. Arms also can go wide, palms facing up, shoulder level. And then as you exhale, twist the knees in one direction, head in the other, lengthening and reaching. Inhale, center. Continue wringing softly your body side to side. Good. Maybe one more side to side for good measure. And so the next part, give your knees a little hug and pulse. Next part does not have to be up on the bolster, but if you have a yoga mat that you can roll up and a block and a pillow that you can slide under your head. This is just a way to make the next little sequence a little bit more challenging because you'll be a little wobbly and will really activate your core muscles. Yeah, so take an extra mat or roll up the mat you're using and sit on the very front end so that you can have the whole length of it behind you, that you can lie on top. And as you're lying down, take your block and slide it under your head because the bolster is not long enough to support the head as well. So here you are, just settle in for a moment. And again, this is optional. You can do all of these exercises with your back flat on the floor. And we've done those many times. This is just a way to make it a little bit more fun. So let's start with our low rise zip. You can open the knees out. You can use the elbows on the floor, just slightly away from your sides for a little kickstand support. As we exhale, we'll close the knees, maintaining neutral pelvis. We'll squeeze, lift the heels, and firm in the lower belly. That's the low rise zip. So inhale, open, exhale, close, squeeze, feet, zip. And if you want to challenge yourself a little bit more, you can still use the elbows, a little kickstand support. But after you've done the close, the squeeze, the lift, and the zip, you can micro hover the feet an inch off the floor just to add their weight and give your core a little extra. Now, for more, if you want it, after you've done all of that, squeeze, zip, and micro hover, lift the elbows off the floor and just balance here for a brief moment before putting the elbows down, the feet down, and opening wide to relax and reset. Exhale, close, zip, feet, and then a brief moment, elbows. Hang here for a second, and then elbows, feet, open, relax. Let's do that a couple more times to get a feel for how it feels on the bolster here, like this. Good. Next time we've zipped up, step your legs up into tabletop. Make sure you're in neutral pelvis. Again, elbows on the floor are optional. If you feel like this is good balance, you can just keep the elbows up. I'm wobbling, but that's the point. You want your core to just kind of start adjusting, little micro adjustments, gripping here and there. As we tapping the toes to the floor, hinging from the hip. So do not bend the knee to touch the floor. Move down from the hip. So think of touching the floor further down away from the edge of your bolster. Inhale, tap, tap, for example. Exhale, tap, tap. Just breathe calm and regular paced breaths. Maintain neutral and practice letting go of elbows off the floor and staying balanced here. And you can always put the elbows down if you feel like you need a little extra help. And for a rest, into the butterfly. Opening wide, taking a nice deep breath into the lower belly. Very good. Next, we'll do micro sit-ups. So we'll leave the legs in the butterfly position and clasp the hands behind the head. Whoa! And just sitting up a tiny smidge is a wobbly business. So that's what we'll be doing. We'll do a little low-rise zip and squeezing the heels together. Do a little mini sit-up on the bolster or on the floor, and then inhale, lie back. And when you're squeezing the heels together, let the feet come apart, the balls of the feet come apart. So squeeze just the heels. Will really help. I've tried it many different ways, and that's the most helpful one. So as you squeeze the heels and do the mini sit-up, you'll feel maybe a little wobbly coming up. but that's what the challenge is. Inhale back, exhale, squeeze, zip and sit up. Inhale back. Now once you feel like, hey, this is not as bad as I thought, sit up and stay. And then on your next exhale, close the butterfly and see if you can step the legs up one at a time into tabletop. Maintain neutral, so make sure your back is a little bit arched in the lumbar, tiny bit. And just balance here, holding the legs in table, head and a micro sit-up, tuck the chin down so the neck is not strained. Just breathe. Yeah, so this is really wobbly here maybe. If not too wobbly for you and you want a little more challenge, you can do the crisscross here. So as you exhale, you can straighten one leg and then just point the elbow across to the bent knee. And then inhale back to table. Then you will go side to side. And this is the ultimate. And you might be shaking. So this is a very small movement. I did this last week and I have abs of steel and I was a little bit sore after this. So that's how I know it worked really well. So when you finish, put the feet down, lie back, butterfly, open, rest. And we're going to get off this bolster and move on. So just scooch over, take the roller, roll under from under your back, put everything away that you don't need, and just grab your knees in for a little hug and pulse, and a little rest. Turning the head side to side. Checking for that tension that I mentioned sometimes is inadvertently gets in. You can massage your neck if you feel like you've been tensing up. And then we'll roll over into our side and do arm circles, leg circles, side stretch and twist. Here using this core for stability. So as you lie on your side, bring your knees up at 90, support your head on the bottom arm, folding it under, and then the top one will make a generous circle overhead on the inhale, rotating the ribs to face up, and then down and past the hip, back to start on the exhale. Inhale up and around, exhale behind, down, back to start. Use your low rise zip to keep the knees together and on the floor. And make the movement really mild amplitude for now. Support the head. Engage the muscles of the arm and the back so that you have this feeling as if you're swimming on your back through molasses. And you want to disassociate and rotate the rib cage while keeping your pelvis stable on the side because you're using the core for stability. Yeah? Good. We'll take this a little bit further. Let's imagine our arm is a minute hand on the face of the clock. We'll be reaching a little bit further forward for 3 o'clock. And then a little bit further up over the ear for 12 o'clock. And then a little bit further back for 9. And then folding the hand behind the back with the palm facing out. Reach down for 6 o'clock while you turn your face towards the floor. Let's do that again. 3 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 6 o'clock. Like that. At your pace one last time. Just a little extra inch in each direction. And then rest the hand on the floor in front of the chest. Straightening the top leg, we'll do circles there. But again, remember to keep your low rise zip for stability. So the circle should not be so huge that your pelvis wobbles everywhere. We want to maintain stability. The leg is actually challenging our core, throwing the weight of the leg around. Engage the foot so it's active, communicating sensations to your nervous system to engage your core better. Inhale, circle, exhale, couple of circles. Let's reverse the direction. And then we'll do side stretch on the inhale with the top leg reaching straight down, the top arm up over the ear. You can bow your ribs up off the floor, full length. And then exhale, bring the knee in high, almost into the armpit, and the elbow bent and down. You're twisting, you're opening your chest toward the ceiling, supporting the head. Inhale, side body stretch. Exhale, knee in, elbow back and down, twist. Here too, a little element of tense release could be nice. A little tense and active reach, inhaling, and a soft melting into the shape, exhaling. One or two more. And as you're going, assess if you might want some padding under your hip here as we do a side balance here next. So you might want to grab a little extra pillow or a blanket for your pelvis. Because next we'll be balancing on our side. So straightening our legs down, lengthen the top waist down as well so that your hips are stacked and your feet feel like they're the same length and touching in the same area back there. Exhale, you low rise zip and lift the legs side. Inhale, lower but hover. Exhale, squeeze and up. Inhale, lower but hover. And keep your legs together the whole time, rubbing whatever it is that the legs are touching for you. Inner edges of the feet, knees, thighs, whatever's in contact. Keep it in contact the whole time. And then let's practice for upcoming rolling banana, holding a balance here. So as your legs come up, let go of the floor and clasp both hands behind the neck. So here you are in the side balance with the legs up. This is the banana part of a movement we'll be doing in just a couple of minutes. Balance here, and then exit, bring the knees in, relax for a second, and we'll flip over and do the same things on the other side. Lie on your other side. Bring your knees up at 90 degrees. Rest your head on the bottom arm and start making circles with the top. Reach forward and up on the inhale, behind and down on the exhale, rotating and disassociating the rib cage, but keeping our low rise zip so that our pelvis stays nicely level and anchored on the floor. Make the amplitude moderate first. We'll reach for the hours on the face of the clock after our shoulder joint has had some time here to mobilize. So that's what we're going to do. As soon as you start to feel that your shoulder is moving smoother, that the range of movement is improving a little bit, you can add that extra reach for an inch. Forward for 3 o'clock, up over the ear for 12, behind the back for 9, and then folding the hand, palm facing up, reaching down with the face turning towards the floor for 6. Let's do that 2 more times, reaching that extra inch in those directions. Using our low rise zip nonetheless to keep the low back comfortable and secure. After about 3 passes around the face of the clock, We'll do leg circles. So extend your top leg to straight. Activate the foot. Make sure your low rise zip is on as you circle around. Generous but stable range. Not too fast. Other direction. Next, we'll be doing side stretch. So on the inhale, reach the leg straight down, the arm up over the ear. And on the exhale, bring the knee high up and the bent elbow back and down, twisting. Go side, inhale. And then twist, exhale. Good. And then let's set up for our side balance. If anybody needs a little padding, take a moment to slide out under the hip. And let's straighten the legs. Lengthen the top waist. Join the feet together with the low rise zip. Exhale, squeeze side and up. Inhale, lower but hover. A few of these. And you can use your hand on the floor for a little support of your balance, or on the hip for extra challenge. And try and keep your legs together the whole time. Let them slide against each other. And then next time your legs are up, let's practice staying in this balance. So up, squeeze, clasping the hands together behind the head. Make sure the neck is not bent out of shape, but it's nice and level with the rest of the spine. You're just balancing here on your side. Do not push with the bottom elbow up. Just, it's a little bit of a stopper, but not bearing my body weight at all. Exhale and rest. Let's come onto our back for a moment of checking in. Just grab your knees in, a little Apanasana pulse. Let's transition into child's pose. So flip around. Come onto all fours. And then sit back towards the heels and reach the arms forward as far as they go to lengthen over your legs. And have your knees close enough together so your front ribs can be on top. Now we'll open up your back ribs for deeper inhale, which is what we'll be doing next. So in this position, whether your hips go all the way down to the heels doesn't matter. See if you can find this contact of ribs on top of thighs, so even if it's kind of here, it's fine. Deepen your inhale into your lower back ribs. When you feel that's happening, inhale into table with a low rise zip and a neutral pelvis or a slight arch, slight sway back with using core support, and then exhale back into child's pose. Inhale, table, arch, low rise zip. Exhale, child's. Relaxing there. Continue at your pace. A few of these. And for added challenge, if you want, when you're on all fours and you've done your zip and you're maintaining your little lumbar arch, you can do a micro hover of the knees off the floor. And see if you can keep that low rise and that little arch nonetheless. So you can try that a couple of times. So it's important when you try and hover your knees, you do not round your back. You keep it neutral, or you keep it a little arch. And then some cats and cows on all fours as we arch on the inhale and round on the exhale. And as you move back and forth, try and articulate every vertebra. Limber up your spine. Inhale as you arch with the low rise zip, and exhale as you round, pull the belly in, scooping in, zipping up all the way to high rise. Think mom jeans versus 90s teenage jean. Good. And then a few jump ropes before we move on. On all fours, inhale, center, sway back. Exhale, squeeze one side, lateral. Round the back, flexion. Squeeze other side, lateral. Inhale, center, extension. Go in the other direction. And think of your spine doing the jump rope. Barreling around. A few in each direction. Barrel roll the spine. What these movements do is really help open up the back body breath. So as you come into child's pose, reconnect to that there. See if you can deepen it a little bit. And we'll come onto the belly and use our breath capacity there to find a little extra space and support in our low back as we're doing back bends. Prop yourself up on the elbows and let's settle in here a little bit with some shoulder shrugs. Up, back, and down with the shoulders. To feel our shoulder blades a little bit better, know where they are and how they can move. And looking over the shoulder a time or two. Again, just to keep any tension that sometimes collects in the neck and shoulders away. We don't want to be tense. We want to be able to engage our muscles for better alignment. We don't want that gripping and that tension that just drains energy. Yeah. And then what we want to do is keep our shoulder blades down. So think of like sliding hands into the pockets of your jeans. With the fingers slightly towards each other, the bottom ends of the shoulder blade towards each other. So your chest feels open. Yeah? Let's have our fingertips out wide as well. So that we have this broadness across the chest we can maintain as we inhale. And come up. And exhale, go down, cheek to side. Low rise zip, inhale, come up. Exhale, down, cheek other side. And we want to use our hands just a tiny bit at the very end maybe. Mostly we want to use our back muscles. And we want to keep our shoulder blades down and our low rise zip right when we're there. At the top of the shape. So there's a bunch of things here we want to keep our mind focused on. Our ability to keep our core engaged. Our back body breath full, our alignment with the shoulder blade, looking down so the neck is not tense. Maybe one more. And a little rest. You can support the head with your folded hands. Do some easy windshield wiping side to side. Good. And some simple leg lifts to keep working on the strength of our back. Keep your pelvis level on the floor and your lower ribs down and nicely zipped in towards the pelvis as you exhale and extend one leg up and back from the hip. Inhale, center. Exhale, other. Inhale. See how on the exhale it feels for you. And try not to use the other leg to dig into the floor. Kind of push up so that this hip does not become ungrounded or comes off or starts to lift to the side. Lift just this leg using the back muscles, the glutes, the hamstring. The other leg is not helping this one to come up. Yeah. Good. A little rest with windshield wiping. And then we'll do alternate arm and leg lifts. So here we are. You can have your elbows bent. Your ribs are on the floor. You're lying on the belly. The arms are bent. And then you would lift an opposite set of limbs. So right and left and down. Try this on the inhale and see if this feels different, better, worse, in what way. So inhale, lift a set of opposite limbs. And exhale, bring them down. And with the inhale, really try and breathe into that lower back space as we were doing earlier, without losing your low rise zip. So that's the tricky part here. Good. Looking down, lengthen the spine, no tension in the neck. Good. A little rest, windshield wiping, head down on the hands. And we'll finish with the swan diver, skydiver combination. Start with the arms reaching forward, legs together behind. Inhale. Exhale, slide the legs apart and slide the hands in, tucking the elbows towards the waist. And then inhale, lengthen on the floor. So sliding the hands and the legs apart is the easier version of this. Just make sure you keep looking down so you're not lifting your head like this, compressing the neck. If this is not too much and you feel like your back has some energy to spend still, done quite a bit of work, so feel free to just stick with the easy version of this, sliding the hands on the floor so their weight is supported by the floor a little bit. But if you want a challenge, you can hover the arms and the legs up like you're swan diving, and then hover as you spread the legs and tuck the elbows in and down like you're skydiving. So this would be inhale, and this would be exhale. Last one. And you come up to table, back into child's pose. And let's give our back a little compensation with child to table again. Inhaling into table, just neutral and plain. Long exhale into child's. A few times like that until your back settles down and recovers. And then a rest in child's pose. Okay. Have your hands under your forehead, along the sides of your body here. Relax. Breathe into the lower back. Next, we'll do a spinal balance on all fours. So when you're ready, come back into table pose and find your neutral. So a little bit of an arch in the low back, but certainly not too much, and certainly not flat or rounded. Here you want to find a position where you feel the most naturally occurring tone in the lower belly. So that's what neutral pelvis gives us. Just automatic activation of transverse abdominis, which is what we want to have. Find that, lock and load the position, anchor the shoulder blades, and then on the exhale, extend a set of opposite limbs and reach like you're pushing elevator doors from being closed. Push and elongate, and then inhale, step down. Exhale, the other set of limbs. Push, inhale, step down. Let's march in place, do this 3-4 times. And then the last challenge here is to hold on each side for 3 breaths or so. And if you want to do more, an additional challenge, you can move the limbs side to side away from each other. Like you're waving overhead and your leg is going side to side as well. For 3 breaths, and then you would switch sides and do about 3 breaths there. Just simple balance or additional challenge. And a thorough rest in child's pose, wrist rolls, back body breaths. Let's do a little bit of lunges to kind of take focus away from the upper back to the low back and legs for just a little bit to balance out. So let's step forward with our right leg. And as you step forward, really come close over the thigh. So you really want to make sure that your armpit is over your knee and there is nice good contact between the ribs and the thigh here. Your heel and when your hips are down should be on the floor so you can scooch the foot forward or the knee back and lengthen your stance. And then hands just touching fingertips as you go into reverse lunge. On the exhale, flexing the foot in, inhale in place, and then exhale back into low lunge, inhale in place. Meanwhile, the whole time you're maintaining this contact of rib cage to thigh. So one of the things that happens is that people think they have to straighten the leg to get a good stretch. And so they come up off the thigh, they straighten the leg, they flex in, and that's fine, but you would get a much better, I feel like, and safer stretch if you stay in tight contact over the thigh. As you flex, this feels more intense, but in the right area. So you can also massage the hamstring and the calf, whichever is easy to reach here as you come into these shapes. Couple of more. Exhale here. Maybe massage, stay close. Exhale there. And next time you're back in low lunge, you can linger there for an extra breath or lift the back knee and make it a high lunge. Reach to the back heel, Really finding, again, this contact of ribs onto thighs, or reaching for that if possible. At the same time, lifting the chest, lengthening, tucking the chin. So think of this when we're doing down dog next. This is kind of the actions that we're going to be synthesizing our down dog from in just a moment. Let's do the other side first. So step around, bring your left leg forward, adjust your stance for length, and then pack your your armpit onto your thigh, your ribs, everything. And a light touch on the floor for just check of your balance as needed. As you exhale into reverse lunge, stay close as you flex and massage. Exhale into low lunge and stay close as you lengthen. Go back and forth a few times until you feel that sensations are becoming more mild and the nervous system is accepting the range of movement we're asking for here. And next time you come back into low lunge, you can make it a high lunge and practice reaching back through the heel, staying close over your thigh, lengthening here. So your chest is lifting, your chin is stocking, a little Jalandhara Bandha here for those who know what that is. And finding those little elements. And exit back into child's pose, and you can make it a wide-kneed one if you want this time, just for a little change. Slide in between your thighs and relax. So those are the elements I mentioned in our lunges that we want to take with us into down dog. You may wish to watch first where exactly the attention is going to be for us here. So we'll start in table. We'll find our neutral with the low right zip and anchor the shoulder blades down and tuck the chin. Then as we move back and up into down dog shape, keep the knees bent and keep reaching the ribs towards the thighs, almost like the thighs towards the ribs, to really lift the tailbone up. And then to get a stretch, you flex the feet without straightening the knees. That way you can really put a lot of weight into the legs while giving them a stretch and take the pressure off the shoulder and the wrist. So your back is really straight, your head is hanging, spread the fingers and find a nice hinge from the hip. And to exit, bring the knees down, preferably together, nice and slow to floor. And then rest back in child's pose, wrist rolls. So that's a down dog. It really helps to both stretch the legs, lengthen the spine. And next time we'll be doing it, let's really work on breathing with the diaphragm, expanding the lower ribs in all directions while we're there. So measure out your distance, reaching forward from child's and then coming to table. Lock and load neutral, shoulder blades, spread the hands, and then exhale, move back, up. Do a little squat here almost, like you're squatting back with the knees bent, flexing through the ankles. Keep your shoulder blades sliding into the back pockets of your jeans here. And breathe with a full diaphragm, inflating those lower back ribs. And when you're ready, exit with control, nice and slow, both knees landing. And rest well in child's pose, wrist rolls, back body breaths. you want to do one more time, go ahead. If you want to rest, yeah. Good, yeah. Now the third time in down dog, you might find a greater ease in the legs as the body opens up. Not too much. Like 3 down dogs is enough. If you have a wobble board or a bosu, let me show you what we'll be doing with it next, again as an optional little level up for fun when we're doing bridge pose in just a moment. So I have this inexpensive plastic wobble board, and we'll be doing bridge, not right away but in a little while. This is just to give you a little preview. We'll have our feet on it, so we'll give you a little wobble here as you do the bridge roll up and the bridge roll down. So that's the application for that. Have it handy if you have one. And let's all come onto our backs first and just grab our knees in, do a little rocking side to side, circling and egg beating. Just settle in a little bit for the final phase of our practice. So first we'll do the hovering butterfly to deposit a little extra layer of stability deep into our core muscles, to continue working on team building for small muscles deep inside the core. So let's have our feet on the floor. Find your neutral pelvis, knees bent together, and then bring the pelvis up just an inch or two off the floor. Not very high into bridge, but just a little hover position here. Then we'll take about a minute to open and close the knees just one time. So count to about 15 seconds to open, 15 to 30 seconds to open, and then 15 to 30 seconds to close. Somewhere in that neighborhood, so you really want to go as slow as that. As you slowly open, you might feel a little wobbly, and that's fine. Through those micro corrections of the wobbles, your deep core muscles establish better communication. So over time, this becomes a much more stable process. And that's actually a good way, as you practice this regularly, to tell if this is actually working, if you're doing this enough. It should become much more stable over time. The more you do this, the faster and the more stable you will feel here. The faster you'll achieve that stability. And you open all the way out, balance on the outer edges of the feet. Open like a book, your feet as well, squeezing the heels together at the very end there when it's all open, and then very slowly close. When you finish, again, hug the knees in, give them a little pulse, long exhalation. And then you can do the bridge with the feet on the floor, where you'll be rolling up on the exhale, inhale in place, and then rolling down on the exhale, inhale in place in neutral. Or take your wobble board, slide it down under your feet. Place the feet on the board a little bit apart, hip distance or so. and find your neutral pelvis. Position the arms wide. Inhale, exhale, zip, imprint, and roll out vertebra by vertebra. And the micro wobble will be adding a little extra interest and challenge and novelty here. Inhale, find neutral and bridge. And exhale, roll down vertebra by vertebra, imprinting as you go. Continue at your pace, finding really fluid transition from vertebra to vertebra on the way up, and vertebra to vertebra on the way down. Make sure you don't strain the neck by pushing on top of it with your body weight. When you come into bridge, stop right at the top of the shoulder blades so the neck is comfortable. There's even a little space between the neck and the floor, so you're not pushing aggressively onto it. And have your feet nice and level on the floor or the wobble board. The wobble board especially will betray if you tend to overuse your glutes and dig the heels in, because the edge of the wobble board will want to come down towards the floor if that's what you tend to do. So assess that. Make sure that you're pressing the feet evenly into the surface of floor or wobble board, and that it stays level as you go up and down. These little micro wobbles are just so fun to feel. But again, the more integrated your core muscles are, the small ones integrated into a team, the smoother it'll be, the more they'll act like big one muscle rather than a bunch of small muscles that just can't quite communicate efficiently. So you're building efficiently here with these special techniques. When you finish, take the wobble board out, grab the knees in. We'll do an easy twist to lengthen the exhale and set ourselves up for a nice relaxing time in Savasana, where we again integrate through this deep rest everything that was happening in our practice today. So let's have the feet on the floor and together, arms wide, neutral. As you exhale, twist the legs in one direction, head in the other. Inhale, center. Exhale, twist. Inhale, center. Lengthen the exhale to your comfortable maximum. Slow down the movement to match the pace of it. And this will really set your nervous system up for good processing time in a minute or so. And same breathing in Apanasana. Last time we're doing it at the end here. Hold on to the knees. Use your arms to move the legs back and forth. As you inhale, move the legs away from the belly. Keep the shins and feet relaxed. And as you exhale, use the arms to guide them back in towards belly, pulsing softly. Again, lengthen the exhale if you can. A little bit more, so it's your longest possible until you feel a natural pause at the end of the exhalation. That's sort of the sign we're looking for as our nervous system shifts gears towards parasympathetic mode. Now to process all of these experiences so that your nervous system A, recovers, B, creates that muscle memory so that the next time you're doing these things it's much better. Resting in Savasana or constructive rest or legs at the wall is very, very important part of this process. If you still have your bolster around, there's some ways you can also boost your immunity while you're doing this by sliding it back under your pelvis so the pelvis is up elevated and all the lymph can flow. You can stay here with the knees bent, feet apart for that, or you can do the same setup and have the legs up on the wall or a coffee table or couch or bed, whatever is nearby that can be a support. So here at the wall, for example, I will come and first put my legs up and then push up and slide the bolster under and put my pelvis on it. And the arms, of course, go out just slightly below shoulder level, so it's very soothing shape for the nervous system. And we can relax here for a few minutes. Breathing with the full diaphragmatic breath. You can even have your hands on the lower ribs so you can feel that expansion and contraction of the rib cage. And stay connected to this experience while you're here.
Stay in this position as long as you like. Continue lengthening the exhale until you feel a natural pause at the end of the exhalation, and you can lengthen the pause as well. If you would like to follow up with a pranayama after a practice like this, Nadi Shuddhi or Nadi Shodhana, alternate nostril breathing, is a very good pranayama to continue the idea of balance, not just physical balance, but also energetic. I'm going to include a link to that video here. Thanks for joining me. Namaste.